All right, so we've talked about the law of cosines, where it comes from, and how to use it when you have all three sides of a triangle to find the remaining angles. We can also use it when we have two sides and an angle of a triangle. Now, we had a situation before where we had two sides and an angle in a triangle where we used the law of sines. But if you'd say sides A and B, in order to use the law of sines, you had to have either angle A or angle B. If you have sides A and B and you know angle C as well, this is where the law of cosines comes into play. Because if you know sides A and B and angle C, there's no equation you can set up where there's just one unknown. But if we look here, if you know sides A and B and angle C, if you know AB, and angle C, you know everything in the right side of this equation. And that equals c squared. So let's say we had an arbitrary triangle. Our triangle ABC. And let's say we knew angle C was, say, 53 degrees, and these two sides, A and B, were 13 and 18. So let's say this was the case we had. So we knew sides A and B, and we were looking for side C. And we also knew angle C. So the version of the law of cosines we would use is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. Because everything on this side we know. We know everything on the right side of this equation. So let's use this information, plug it in, and find out what c is. So we're looking for c. C squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of c. So side A was 13, B was 18, and angle C was 53. Now, if you are confident in your calculator skills, this is very easy to do, because the only thing to get C by itself is to take the square root. So if you are confident with your calculator and you can punch this in without any mistakes, then go for it. So square root of 13 squared plus 18 squared minus 2 times 13 times 18 times the cosine of 53. So that's our value, 14.54. C equals 14.54. Now, if you're not so confident with your calculator, you can take it step by step, part by part. 169, c squared is 169. So it's 169. 18 squared is 324. Minus 2 times 13 times 18 is 468. Cosine of 53. We're definitely going to have to use our calculator for that cosine of 53. There's no way around it unless it's a 45, 30, or 60 degree angle. So 169 and 324 gives us 493. So we'll perform that difference and then take the square root. So 493 minus 468 cosine of 53. Square root of that is 14.54. You get the same thing. So whether you plug it in one go or you break it down part by part, you're still getting the same value. Either way. And it actually was the same entire thing in the calculator. That 14.5379 was the same thing we got when we did the whole thing. It's the same exact number. It matches perfectly. All right, so that gives us one side of the triangle, 14.54. All right. Great. Now, we know all three sides of the triangle, so we can use another version of law of cosines to find either angle A or angle B. I'm just going to find angle B, so to find angle B, we would use the version b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of b. But we know b is 18, a is 13, c is 14.54, and then a and c are 13 and 14.54 respectively again. So we'll solve for b. So this time, fill everything in. 18 squared equals 13 squared plus 14.54 squared minus 2 times 13 times 14.54 cosine of b. So 18 squared is 324. 13 squared is 169. And 14.54 squared is just that 211.35. Because we took the square root of that to get that, so I don't need to go through squaring it. And then 2 times 13 times 14.54, 378.04. Cosine of b. And 169 plus 211.35, so it's 324, equals 380.35 minus 378.04 cosine of b. Remember, these two are not like terms. You cannot combine them. You have to subtract the 380.35 from both sides. That gives us negative 56.35. Excuse me. And then negative 378.04 cosine of b. So when we divide, negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it's 56.35 divided by 378.04 equals cosine of b. And to get rid of that cosine, you take the cosine inverse. Since that's not going to be an exact, I'm just going to leave it as is and plug it into my calculator like that. So I'm going to plug that into my calculator. So cosine inverse of 56.35 divided by 378.04 equals 81.4 degrees. So that's our measure of angle B. What was it? 81.4 degrees. And all that's left is finding the measure of angle A, which is just using the triangle angle sum theorem. So subtract 81.4 and 53 from 180, leaving us 45.6 degrees. All right, so that's it. You can solve any type of triangle now using either the law of sines or the law of cosines. Have fun.